Hello everyone, and welcome to another Field of Glory 2 Medieval Battle. I am Dark, and today we're going to be doing the mirror of the English-Scottish matchup that I'm also working on. This is the same match against Witan, who took two of my rank challenges at the same time. A little bit spooky if he's a pretty good player, but I once again skipped deployment on this one because I wasn't sure if I wanted to record it. And we're going to take a second on this first turn to kind of analyze well, basically what things are looking like. So move these units forward. Let's take a look and see what he's got. So he's brought, I think, max cav? Yeah, so 2 units of knights, which are in the open. Again, just like in the mirror, we're going to be holding these ideally at the stream. Now, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. He might be able to get across the stream before we are able to, but I think it's worth noting that we're definitely going to be able to repel these, because these are only his Huscarls, which are knight speed on impact, which is great. Now, looking at the, let's see. How many Huscarls has he brought? He's brought 1 Huscarl there, 1 there, 1 there. Yeah, maxing Huscarls as the Anglo-Saxon list does. Some units of spearmen over here defending, probably against the rough, specifically. And he's just moving straight forward against the river. In my own matchup, I started shifting to his right, so my left in this case. And the reason for that is because I wanted to avoid the rough as much as possible, because there just isn't anything the Anglo-Saxon list can really realistically do to contest the rough. Now, he does have a pretty healthy amount of skirmishers, which could be problematic. But we've got a unit of foot archers here. These do pretty well against light units overall, I would say. Again, we are a little bit outnumbered, but I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so how do we actually want to move here? So, again, he's got these mounted Huscarls moving around for a flank. We've got our own cavalry on the flank, with the idea here that we're going to be kind of waiting the flank, so to speak. And we don't want these units to get held up. We would like to actually use them, which, you know, that would be like ideal. Now, we do have a problem here, which is that these superior Huscarls are going to be able to kind of crush our front line a little bit. So without the use of knights and things like that, we're going to be in a little bit of a tricky situation when it comes to these units. Now, these Scottish spears are larger units than the Huscarls, which means we're going to be able to actually kind of outnumber them in terms of unit strength. And that could work to our advantage, but definitely until these Huscarls start taking casualties, we're not going to be in a particularly great situation against them, especially if they've got a general, which he does in 2 instances, so... But let's see what we can do, right? So the thing is, if we get to the stream and we hold it, we can kind of double up on his Huscarls with the Scottish spears, which would kind of negate their superiority. By putting these knights in like this position where they can get locked up in the stream, they can get into positions where they can't do anything because they're unable to actually charge into the spears, which would definitely work in our advantage if we were able to do that. So for starters, we're going to move our Galwegian medium foot to here. And let's see, he's going to move these units 1, 2, 3. So his slingers can shoot out to here. So we're only going to move 1 forward for now. In fact, we're going to go ahead and move these archers like so. Okay, and I think we actually, what we want to do is shift right closer to this rough ground, because he won't be able to push into this, but we will. So, a really interesting idea I have is, because I've got this unit of Islesmen here, we could actually move this unit of knights potentially on kind of a long flank around. I don't know if I like that though. That's just going to take too long. Even for these faster knights, I mean, like we can like count the turns, right? So we'd move here, and we'd have to run past these skirmishers as well, which would just get these units shot to pieces, right? So I don't think we want to do that. It would take about, idealistically, probably about 6 turns before we would even get there. And then just for this unit to have to deal with a crap ton of skirmishers and also have to deal with a crap ton of spearmen at the end of it, it probably makes more sense to keep them here. So that's what we're going to do. We're definitely going to shift right, though, with this unit. Let's see, is this the kind of one I want? Yeah, that's perfect. Well, maybe not. Hold on. We don't want these lights to go there as well. So we're going to shift because the thing is, you don't want to fight people where they have the advantage. And where he has the advantage, I think, is not the rough ground. Definitely has it in the open with these Huscarls, so we definitely want to be just super, super careful when we're engaging those and try to avoid contact with them as long as possible, ideally. Then we're going to move, I think we're going to move these archers here to kind of get ready to pester any of these cavalry as they come around. We could even move them over to the rough. That might be better. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do that. Just move this unit over to the rough. Get them ready for the Huscarls, the mounted ones. And curiously, we could actually kind of inflate our line a little bit due to these like reserve spears that we have, which would allow us to kind of wrap around him a little bit better. I think I'm favoring that idea as well. Now, something about these earlier knights is they don't have as much armor, so they are more susceptible to getting shot, but their impact capability is actually quite similar to I think it's actually identical to the heavier armored knights. They just don't have as much melee strength, so you get these really fast knights that still hit like just an absolute train, basically. And against these Huscarls, I think they're going to do quite well. So let's go ahead and move these units here. And then it's kind of ballooned our line a little bit. And maybe it's going to give him a little bit of space to get across the stream, but the only unit that matters for us is his knights. The rest of his units are going to do just fine in the stream, so... In that instance, I think what I'm going to do is move these Scottish spears here, and we're just going to continue to kind of balloon our line a little bit with these reserves, kind of widen it up a little bit. And that's a nice thing about when you do put units in reserve like this, is the ability to kind of reposition your line as necessary, whereas if I just deployed it in an extremely wide line in the first place, I wouldn't have really had a choice if he decided to go for like pushing all his units on one side or something. Anyway, that is the end of turn 2. Next turn. Let's see how he reacts to my shift here. As anticipated, he's kind of pushing those Huscarls, across the stream, so to speak. And let's just go out here and send some season's greetings, if you will. Looks like the damage will be relatively the same regardless of which one we shoot at. I think the archers are maybe a little more dangerous. They'll also be a little bit easier to disrupt because this one kind of load roll on its actual unit strength. It's 114. So I'm going to shoot at that one. Set it up volley, and then get these Galwegians ready to push them off. Okay, now how far right do I want to push this flank? I think ultimately I'm happy with this. And then if we move to here before he can get there, we may be able to keep his knights from advancing across the stream. Or if he does advance across the stream, then he's in an unfavorable position. So I think I like this. He doesn't have any missile units to ward this off with, so we're just gonna go for it, I think. Have these Islesmen kind of fill in the blank left behind, the gap rather. All right. Should be able to shoot him from here. I wouldn't call this the most efficient shooting ever, but it is going to let us at least pester those knights a little bit. Knights do tend to perform a lot worse without as many men, and that makes them quite vulnerable to projectiles overall, for sure. And then if we just keep moving diagonally like this, we should be able to meet him where he's trying to go. Yeah, so we kind of ballooned our line enough that we can cover this, and then these knights are now in a position where they're ready to meet them. Now these can go 1, 2, 3, 4, so they actually like get in the stream. But if I push over here and I start to cross, he actually can't stop me from doing that. At which point my knights will be across the river, and we're going to be fighting these Huscarls just kind of in the open. It's a little bit of an unfavorable trade, just because these are worth more, but are kind of fighting with the same capability. So, less than ideal. But I think we might be able to use our combination of light archers to maybe disrupt some of them before contact. We've also got generals on these two units, so I'm feeling confident about that as well. And yeah, he can't do anything about this, so we're gonna move there. Alright. Next turn. He's going to push with those lights. That's completely sensible, honestly. He is going to accept full arc with those light archers. Will he get the disruption on us? No, he didn't even try to check. That's good. It looks like he is going to move into the river. Let's see what we got. So, our knights can safely cross the river. However, a little bit of a situation is opening up to us here, which is we can keep these mounted Huscarls completely like at bay, using nothing more than these Scottish spears, basically. Then what that would allow us to do is start shifting these knights back over. Especially if what he wants to do is move these units across the river. If we could get one of our knights kind of in here and kind of set up a trap a little bit, make him come to us. We'll see if he sees that or not. And for now, we're just going to move these Scots spears up a little bit more. And with no projectile units, I'm happy to leave my knights here. If he charges with his own knights, we can maybe get a unit of Scottish spears involved just to push them off or something. Well, they can't push off if they engage this. Plus, we've got a general and they don't. And if he tries to set up a flank here, we will happily just set up some Scottish spears to get ready to counter him. These Islesmen actually eat these armored spears. And I think we can actually get the Galwegian foot close to involved, is what we'll say. Alright, now let's give these archers a bit of a run for their money here. Okay, got the disruption, that's awesome. And we'll turn these Galwegians over here. And I think we figured out what we're going to do with these Islesmen, which is to cover this spot here. So, one thing you can always count on the Scots for, which is that excellent core of foot and just a ton of it. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty happy about that turn. Next turn. And yep, here comes the disruptions. And he pushes in with the Huscarls. Expected. Good, hold firm. Triggers a check with just a single unit of lights. It's impressive, honestly. Very interesting. I appear to have caught the attention of his cav. Let's think here. So he's not going for it, right? He's not interested in pushing this yet. But I think what I have done potentially is gotten him interested in this position over here. But the good news for us is it's a lot harder for him to push with this many units, and a lot harder for him to get around this many units here. And we've got some lights over here. So what we can start doing is start cycle charging Huscarls. It doesn't happen. That's fine. To be expected, honestly. These units are gonna get some damage. Yep. Now the tricky part is we know this unit's going to break, more or less. I mean, he's out of general range. Yeah, general's all the way over here. He's got more Huscarls on the way. He is in a position to attack these Galwegians. Unfortunate, but hey, what can you do? See if we can get a disruption on these lights. No dice. Oh, because the spearman is in range, so they're not getting their full POA, unfortunately. Alright, well, we will turn the unit. Get stuck in potentially here. Be able to attack them from the rough, since we are slowly wrapping around. Get these Islesmen a little bit closer to the action. We are terrified of this Huscarl, for sure. Essentially what we could do, give these spears a general, have them attack, set up for a flank. It could be worth trying. Unfortunately, I don't know that this unit's going to last long enough to do that. But it could be worth trying all the same. So, awesome, they held firm. And he will probably suspect that I'm setting up a flank here, which is absolutely fine with me. Okay, and then I don't know if he charges here, if these knights will fall back to this tile, or if they'll go to this tile. But regardless, we should probably go here, because then either way it doesn't actually matter. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Now, I'll just shoot these lights, why not? They have firm. Of course. Let's put some shots into these Huscarls. I mean, it's mostly for morale purposes, but take it. And let's finish rotating this line up. a little bit cheeky we can do here. We can actually zone out these Huscarls, so then he can't do anything with them next turn. Unless he charges this unit, at which case he will be at a disadvantage because we've generaled up. I am not interested in letting him do anything with these Huscarls. I will just say that. We'll leave a gap open here in our line so he can't charge anywhere immediately anyway. And yeah, that's it. Next turn. He's gonna go for the disrupt on these vegan archers. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, it's not really, but... Oh! Okay. Guess that's why you don't charge impact, but not with defensive spears anyway. Okay, he pins the general so that this unit has problems. Gets a good disruption there. Alright, let's see here. So, we got a lot of things to talk about this turn. So, first things first that I noticed, I definitely want to get these Galwegians here. Well, before I do that though, what happens if we win this melee? These break? Okay. Alright, they all held. That's fine, I guess. I mean, it's not really fine, but it's fine. I say we get these Galwegians here. This is like an ideal situation. We're actually starting to wrap around a little bit, which is great. Yeah, we could just like envelop and crush like this whole flank here. That would be just awesome, wouldn't it? Probably what we do here is we take the bad melee. Okay, set up a flank. We've actually got 2 flanks set up, which is awesome. And then, what do we do here? So here's an interesting question. These have a general, so I'm actually kind of worried that even with the flank, we're not just going to, like, shatter them. So, definitely a problem to consider. I think what I want to do with these Islesmen, move them to there. I don't know, do I want to do that? Do I actually want to do that? That's a good question. So, let's think about this, right? So, the idea behind pinning this unit would be that we would be able to move this unit forward, which we don't necessarily want to do. Curiously, there's like almost nothing he can do to stop like these knights, right? Like he's only got these armored offensive spears and these raw spears, which just get trashed in the open for the most part. I mean, he could eventually set up a flank by making these knights not stick in melee, but even that's kind of a risky endeavor, right? I may be disrupted, but I'm not fragged yet. Go ahead and try to get a disruption of our own. They'll burn. That's okay. To be honest, I'd much rather they shoot these than my Galwegians, definitely. These do not have very good projectile protection, as it were. And if these units hold off these lights for like another turn, that gives us another chance to get these units kind of stuck in and causing a lot of problems. Now, having attempted to set this up, I mean, if he pushes these knights in here to zone out these Galwegians, we're going to just be able to zone him out. And then if he puts these armored spears here, we can just attack with the Galwegians like so and set up a flank. So we really do just have him like outmaneuvered here, which is just such a good feeling in this game. We'll see if it pans out though. 36% chance to lose melee here, and then probably about 15-25% chance that this unit then drops cohesion. That could be bad. But I think this flank is just very secure, so I'm feeling good about that. All right, enough blowing wind here. Let's see what we want to do with these two units. So I think the thing that we want to do potentially is I think what I like doing is this, where we set up a flank. And ooh, this is a tough one. So I kind of locked myself into it now, but let's see. This sucks, but I think the best thing to do here is actually to attack with these Scottish spears. Okay, they fell back. That's unfortunate. So my hope was that they would stick, and then we could push this unit past and set up another flank. That's not going to happen now. But what we are going to do is move these Scottish spears to this position here. He is able to potentially move his raw spears up here. That could be a problem. We'll see if it ends up being so. Alright, let's see what happens to these units. It's looking a little bit sketchy over here, especially for these units. Okay, they held. That's good. Okay, these are disrupted, which is a problem. Alright, now with our knights. So, curiously, we're actually winning these engagements. Here's what I think we do. I think this unit evades, most likely. Yep. Okay, and we set up to charge this unit next turn. He might do something crazy. We're not sure yet. This unit is zoned out. He is unable to perform his duties as a unit. Let's see. We could transfer our general to this unit, make it more likely to stick, which I like. Let's see if they hold. This is really nasty melee. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. Let's see. Just shoot these knights a little bit more. We'll just shoot a little bit of long distance as well. And then we're set up for a flank. Great. Hey, this unit gets trashed next turn, but better than the disrupted unit getting trashed. That would be especially bad. And I'm really enjoying our position here. We are ahead 5%, which doesn't mean all that much, but I really like this flank we've got set up for next turn. He's obviously going to set up a counter flank. I don't think there's any question about that. The good news is we can get these units set up for flanks as well. It's just going to be flanks all around. Let's see, and we'll see what he does with these Huscarls as well, right? Like if he just turns to face us or if we have to chase him off. We'll see. It's an interesting question. One last thing to talk about this turn. So with these Islesmen, I'm not quite sure what I want to do yet. If I want to... I think at the very least we push them up. And then I will leave them turned that way. And then the thought process behind this, for me, is if he pushes in here, we have, you know, again, it's just about the angles of flanking, right? And then these knights are, you know, normally when this happens to knights on, like, rivers, they are losing value for you. But in this position for us, they're actually about even because of the combined raw spear, armored spear, and even though these knights are worth more than these two units combined still, well, actually I'm not sure on that, it might be about even. More importantly, this is keeping 2 units pinned with 1, which is something you always like love to do in this game. So I'm really liking that as well. Alright, let's see how this goes next time. Next turn. Okay, so he pushes in with the armored spears there. Interesting. Interesting. That is good for him. You know, I'll be the first to admit that I didn't know that slingers could charge medium foot if they were steady. You know, that's on me. Alright, well. Just one of those things you learn, I guess. Okay, well, not much to do here except keep doing for the most part. We'll push here to reduce flank threat, and then how do we want to do this? So these units are even if they start fighting. He's got the general here. We'll come back to that. We'll think about that for a minute. So we're still gonna like win this, but it's just pretty annoying that it happened in the first place, right? Alright, let's see. Okay. Interesting. So that gives us the ability to set up a flank here. This unit is going to struggle against these Huscarls, but hopefully we can continue to do damage. The situation here isn't great either. He's got to flank it in, I think, 2-3 turns. He does have a flank set up here with his raw spears, which is pretty bad. Always a problem with these Scottish spears is while they are quite potent, if they get flanked, it's just like over basically. Like with most units, but you lose a lot of value in that when that happens. Let's see. Again, really disappointing that this melee broke off when we could have gotten a flank next turn. So yeah, kind of disappointing. Let's see. Go zone that unit out. Transfer the general there. If we square here, that would protect this unit against the flank threat here. But I just don't think that's going to be an option for us. I think we have to move here and zone these Huscarls out, sadly. However, we are able to now shoot him, which is good. Okay. Good. Holding for now. And I mean, hey, you know, these Galwegians holding these knights here is good. It's good value, right? It just means, you know, we didn't get the flank that we wanted, but we will still be able to do it, thanks to that push, which is great. So, pretty happy about that still. Really just feeling indecisive about what to do in this particular situation. I mean, the seemingly, like, correct thing to do right would be to, like, lock this unit in. I think now would be potentially a good time to charge here and bounce off of these armored spears. Yep. So now if he wants to go forward, even if he wants to set up this flank here, he has to push his armored spears in. So that means we're getting our Lancer POA again. Again, this is just really bad. That flank is going to be really, really painful. What do we want to do here? So, this unit's slowly winning. This unit is also slowly winning. Do we want to win, like, a little more quickly, perhaps? I think that might be the wise move. Just kind of pile on and get a 2-on-1 situation going where we can. Keep these knights and sergeants nice and pinned here in the stream where they don't have their POA. And I think the thing is, we have to move here. If we charge him, we stand a pretty good chance of yeah, if we charge here, we have a pretty good chance of bouncing off, disrupting, etc. I think the ideal here would be to set up here. So he charges us here. He charges us here. These units get stuck in melee. We move these Scots spears up 2, and then flank in 2 turns on these armored spears. And that may not be correct, but it is what we're going to try. Let's see if we're getting any units. These lights that are about to, like, collapse, like I guess we're getting. And that's it. Next turn. Alright, there's the flank on our Scottish spears, the frag. They hold for, you know, 1 turn at least. Okay, those spears fall back. Charges with the armored offensive spears, wins against my Scottish spears. Okay. I didn't even realize that was a flank either. I'm just playing terrifically, aren't I? His lights hold firm despite losing melee because, you know, of course they do. We do win a melee there, but it's because we have the general most likely. Okay, so realistically, what can we do here? He's just using his cavalry to distract me, and there's not really a whole lot I can do about it. You can just give him some shots, I guess, but he's more or less kept these knights out of the fight without even engaging them. And, you know, well done to him for that, but, you know, not really working out for me. Let's see. All we could really do against these offensive spears is charge. Probably we get a break. Doesn't happen, of course. We'll go for the flank here on these armor spears. They do break. His Huscarls hold firm. So good for us. Or not good for us, rather. These are still holding on in the melee here, unfortunately. And unfortunately, it's still going to be 2 turns before we can even begin to flank these Huscarls. So it's going to take some time to get to that point. We are ahead on points, but in terms of positioning and overall situation, I'd say things are going south pretty quickly here. Yeah, there goes Islesman. Probably can safely charge into the raw spears here. And we'll go ahead and the thing is, if he wants to charge into these Scottish spears, he has to accept a flank from us, which he won't do. These units are going to continue to lose. They fall back. This frag unit's probably going to break here. Yep. Okay, raw spears charge into our Scottish spears. They should be able to lose again to that. Cool, they disrupt. These frag units can't do anything. Okay, we are winning against his mounted Huscarls, ever so slightly. Alright, we gotta make something happen here. Let's charge into these Knights and Sergeants, because they will bounce if... Brilliant. Let's go ahead and do that. If he wants to zone us out, he's gonna risk getting flank charged, because he'd have to move forward. It gives us an opportunity to move up with these Scottish Spears next turn, potentially. So, big fan of that. Let's see. What do we want to do with these Knights, honestly? I think I'm feeling we turn to the right here, and we start moving into kind of charge some of these units. You know, threaten a flank on these Huscarls, perhaps, although it probably will be too late to do that by the time we get there, and these mounted Huscarls will probably charge into our flank before then as well. Those units are fragged. These Galwegians not doing anything to these Knights except zoning them. It's overall a good trade for us. Okay. And that's it. Next turn. Okay, this is one of his spears rally. Okay, set up the flank successful on the Scots spears. They hold for now, but that is a tick of the clock that is going to continually go down in his favor. Galwegians do hold. The Scots frag. This frag spears hold for impact, but they're probably going to lose. Okay, they hold for another turn. Amazingly, his raw spears stick here. Those Knights' mobility is just out of control. Galwegians do rally. And we're going to turn the Galwegians like this. If he tries to charge with the light archers, we are still getting our impact bonus because he's not charging at the flank. And I believe at this point we're going to set up the Islesmen to help kill these Knights. We're going to set up a flank with these Islesmen on the Huscarls as well. Now, the rest of the line is beginning to just completely crumble and collapse, unfortunately. Not really sure how much more we can do about that, given the circumstances. I mean, we're only winning, you know, 15% on these... Oh, hold on a second. Oh. Yeah, so his raw spears are only down, you know, 25 POA on our Scottish spears here. We would slowly win this melee, but, you know. I mean, I guess we might as well get stuck in there. Now, as for the rest of this, I mean, we'll try to go for the win on these raw spears to see if they back off. If they don't, they frag. Okay, the Scots continue to hold. See these spears kind of break. Yep. Okay. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we should be able to turn in here and set up a hard flank for next turn. And unfortunately, there's not much these knights can do. I mean, we can have them kind of run off into the sunset here, which does leave these knights a little bit more exposed, but for the time being, I think that that's a good position we want to take. Let's go for a disruption of these mounted Huscarls with the lights. They hold. This line continues to, well, we're winning in some spots, but not by enough. The problem with these Scottish spears is that they win a little bit too slowly, and that causes situations where even if you're winning, like if nothing intervened here, you would win. But slowly, like next turn, he's gonna have a flank on these Scots, and this whole section is just gonna collapse, and I have no answer to it. So it's not gonna end particularly well either. Interesting situation here. If we try to zone out, I mean, if we charge these armored spears and we don't stick, he's just going to set up a flank on these spears here. So we're just going to hold for the time being. We are, like, we have at least sort of won on this side. However, slowly it has been for us to do that, but I don't think that it's going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things here. And those spears going to go to the center. And that's it for this turn. Next turn. Going for the disruption on the Galwegians. Doesn't get it. Hits and bounces. Ooh, we do take out the Huscarl General there. A little bit of a stroke of luck. We get it auto broken, unfortunately. All right. So we'll go ahead and go here in order to set up a zone of control on these knights. Okay, we do get a frag on these Huscarls. We're going to hold firm for just a little bit longer, it looks like. And we'll prep the rest of these units to start moving out, although I don't know how much it's going to matter at this point. Things looking pretty grim across the board here. Nothing these Scots spears can do against the Huscarls for the most part. So we're not particularly worried about it because, hey, there's nothing you can do anyway. We might be squaring our unit here. As a matter of fact, I think that might be exactly what we do. We are temporarily winning this melee, which is interesting. Let's go ahead and shoot these Huscarls. We are unfortunately on low ammo, so not much is going to happen as a result of it. But let's see, these Huscarls probably evade. Oh, they do stick for impact. All right. Let's get these spears ready to push in into this position. That's something I would be interested in doing. But can we realistically get these knights away? I mean, he's just going to trail us with these Huscarls forever, basically. So it might be smarter to lure him out for one more turn. Even then, probably what we want to do is get ready to set up a flank here. If he doesn't zone with these Huscarls, I mean, he'll have to fall back into the marsh and takes a cohesion check, and just looking overall pretty good for us there. Let's see. I think we're gonna throw this into square. I just don't see a reason not to. I mean, if we don't like, if we don't throw this unit into square, he's just gonna charge with these armored offensive spears anyway, and then he's just going to flank charge us. Even if we turn to face him, he still is able to get a flank charge off. So better that this unit dies, and then this one has like a chance to hold on for a little bit longer, I think. Let's see, anywhere we can throw this general that would be more useful? Probably not, from the look of it. Well, once again, better to leave these zoning out, just because it'll keep these Scottish spears holding on for longer. And let's go ahead and do these 2 bad melees. Okay, they hold on for another turn. These Huscarls are probably going to slam into the Scottish spears next turn. They don't have long for the world, I think, is what I'm trying to get at here. And that's all we got for this turn. Next turn, let's see what we got. Not good things, I'm assuming. And yep, there's the flank. Which turns into a frag. Yep, there's another flank there. We do get a rally here. But overall, things are looking pretty grim for us here. Let's take a look and kind of survey the situation a little bit. I think we take the free break here, as those Huscarls are superior units, so kind of don't want them just hanging around. These knights are kind of tragically pinned, as it were. Now the problem is, even though these armored spears are fragged, if we turn to try to flank these raw spearmen, he can still turn in with the armored offensive spears and just like zone us out anyway. So not really an option there, tragically. Let's see, anything else we can realistically do here? I mean, you know, I think the writing's on the wall for this one, and in a couple of these matches I've played now, I've kind of just wished there was like a resign button. Like, you know, when you're playing chess and you know you're going to get checkmated in like 3 turns, it's like really nice to just be able to say like, hey, you know, I can see that like you won this match. It's fine. You can just have it. But I guess that just didn't make sense here for whatever reason. Let's go for the charge on these Huscarls, who win and get a disruption. Going to get a disruption here. Slowly winning this melee as well, but perhaps a little too slowly. These spears are going to be toast next turn, and then pretty much all we can realistically do with these spears is just prevent the demise of these knights and sergeants for like a turn or 2 longer. Unfortunately, I don't know that we're even going to make it to a point where we can do that. He only needs 5% more, which is maybe a unit, maybe 2. Until the game is over for the most part. Go ahead and turn these lights, I mean, whatever, right? I don't know that it actually matters here, and again, just nothing these knights can really do, unfortunately. These are going to break this turn. These are maybe going to break with them the following turn, so yeah, looking really, really grim here. I doubt we're going to be able to drag this on any much longer. but we'll see. Next turn, he's saying good game. If nothing rallies, that makes perfect sense to me. Apologies if you can hear the traffic in the background. And yeah, those break. These are on the verge. Building for now, but you know, how long is that going to last? Those disrupt. Tries to break the Scots. They hold for just one more turn. Protects his flank with these remaining armored spears. Killing his cavalry, but too slowly to matter. And there we go, that's game. Well done to Batan here. Again, just a masterful job from a better player than me at kind of taking his advantages where he had them and delaying me where he didn't. Just a really good display of skill there. I also have been learning, you know, I've been dividing my line too much, I think, in these types of matchups instead of keeping it together. One hole in a line is all a good player like this needs to completely just like cause a situation like this where everything's shattered. And without knights in my line to contest these Huscarls, we just didn't have the infantry necessary to deal with his Huscarls either. Nor were we able to, like in the mirror, take advantage of this rough ground just because he had more lights on this side. So, well done him, and good game.